One night, we were woken up by the sound of the intercom. What time is it? It's 1 a.m. Who could it be at this hour? I'll get it. We both checked the front door monitor and saw our granddaughter, Emma, on the screen. We hurried to the door in our pajamas. Emma. What are you doing here at this time? She looked exhausted and was on the verge of tears. Come in. We supported and brought her inside. She collapsed onto the living room sofa. Here, have some hot tea. Are you hungry? She buried her face in the sofa and shook her head. My husband looked at her with concern. I didn't know where to start. As I searched for the right words, she knelt on the floor and bowed her head. Can I borrow $30? I promise I'll pay it back. Her shoulders were trembling. I rubbed her arms and helped her sit back on the sofa. Emma, what happened? Can you tell us? Then, she slowly began to speak. My name is Grace. I met my husband when I was 22 through a mutual friend. A gentle, older man with a heart as wide as the sky is perfect for you, Grace. What do you mean by that? Grace, you charge ahead with unwarranted confidence. You need someone who can watch over you with a smile if you want a long-lasting relationship. The friend who said this introduced me to David, who was 2 years older than me. He listened to our conversation with a smile. So, Grace, you work at a bakery, right? Yes. I've been working there since I graduated high school, so it's been 4 years now. I've been given the opportunity to make a variety of bread. Right now, I'm developing a new product. I couldn't stop talking when it came to my favorite subject, bread. That's amazing. I've only been working for 2 years since I graduated college, so you're my senior in the working world. His words made my heart skip a beat. He worked for a major consulting firm. I didn't really understand what consulting was. But according to my friend, he was very accomplished. To be honest, I wasn't fond of studying, so I didn't go to college. I started working at the bakery because they happened to be hiring near my house. My parents were bemused, saying, "You made that decision on your own again." But as the youngest, I had always been allowed a lot of freedom. And throughout my life, I never once regretted my choices. I think it's because I was surrounded by good people, including my parents who gave me just the right amount of space, my friends, and my teachers. Fortunately, the bakery manager, Tom, was also a very nice person. What started as a casual part-time job turned into a full-time position after a year, thanks to his recognition. I often think that my life has been successful thanks to the people around me. And I felt that the person in front of me, David, was probably a good person too. After all, there aren't many people who would call someone like me, with just a high school diploma, amazing. Bakeries open early, don't they? I start work at 4 a.m. But I work hard because I want everyone to enjoy fresh-baked bread for breakfast. No matter how it started, I took pride in my job as a bakery staff and was dedicated to making bread. Seeing David listen to my story with a gentle expression, I quickly grew to like him. So, even though it was the day we met, I confessed my feelings to him. To my surprise, he accepted my confession. I was drawn to your straightforwardness too, Grace. I want to know more about you. And so, we started dating. What do you want to eat, David? I'm fine with anything. You choose, Grace. I want to see you enjoy your meal. On our dates, he always prioritized my preferences for where to go and what to eat. When I tried to go to work with a fever, he would stop me, saying, "Delicious bread can only be made by healthy people. Take it easy today." I was always surrounded by his kindness. We happily got married a year after we started dating. A year later, our son, Mike, was born. I quit my job at the bakery when I got pregnant, but even without work, I often found myself overwhelmed with a young child. When David came home from work, he would say, "Thank you. I'll take care of the rest," and he would finish the remaining chores. He was always calm and kind. Because he was my husband, I was always able to smile. "Mike, you should be like your father." I repeatedly told Mike this since he was little. Perhaps because of that, he grew up to be very calm and kind, just like his father. When I noticed we were out of milk for the next morning, he would go shopping with me at night. For my birthday, he would go to several stores to find my favorite peaches, even if they were out of season. I often thought that his future wife would live a happy life, just like I did. I imagined myself in her shoes. As a mother-in-law, I pictured us sharing the good qualities of our husbands. Just thinking about it makes me happy. I also looked forward to having lunch and making bread with her. It would surely be fun. I eagerly awaited his marriage. Whether he knew about my expectations or not, one day when he was 24, he called unexpectedly. "Mom, I've decided to get married. I'll bring her over next Sunday." He had moved out for college, so we didn't even know he had a girlfriend. The sudden news of his marriage was a surprise. Still, the thought of our only son's wedding was deeply emotional for me. The night before their visit, I was too excited to sleep. But on Sunday, what I thought would be a joyous and happy time turned out very differently. His fiancée, Sarah, was 21, 3 years younger than him. They had met at a mixer. "She's pregnant with our baby." "What?" David and I were speechless and exchanged glances. Contrary to our shock, they were very composed. "Sarah, what do you do for work?" I tried to learn more about Sarah. "I work part-time at a convenience store. But standing work is tough when you're pregnant, so I'll quit soon." She said this while crossing her legs on the sofa. I was shocked at her attitude towards her future in-laws upon first meeting. "Mike, I'm thirsty. Do you have any Coke?" "Sorry, we don't keep soda in the house." "How about some tea?" Okay, whatever." Both David and I were repulsed by her presumptuous attitude. Despite dreaming of Mike's wedding, just a few hours with her made me deeply anxious about the future. That night, David sighed, which was unusual for him. "Do you think Mike will be okay?" "But Sarah is already pregnant, and he really seems to love her. We just have to trust him." A month later, they got married. They decided not to have a wedding to save money for their baby. Despite our worries, they seemed to be managing well, thinking about their child, which gave us some relief. 7 months later, a chubby and adorable baby girl, Emma, was born. Their house is an hour's drive from ours. I wanted to visit Emma every day, and Mike said, "You're welcome anytime." However, Sarah was openly displeased when we visited, so we stopped going to their house voluntarily. Though it was a bit lonely, we watched Emma grow through the photos and videos Mike sent us. When she started walking, they began visiting us. We always welcomed them warmly. "I'll have some salmon roe." Sarah, as usual, eagerly grabbed her favorite sushi from the platter. But next to her, angelic Emma brought us joy. "The bear-shaped bread is so cute. Grandma made it." "Really?" "Grandma, you're amazing." "Thank you." "Eat as much as you like." "Mike, you too." Despite my growing dissatisfaction with Sarah every time I saw her, I was always happy to see Mike and Emma. When Emma was little, they visited often, but as she reached middle school, her activities kept her busy, and we only saw them during holidays. I wished to see Mike and Emma more, but I also didn't want to be upset by Sarah. This distance seemed just right. So, while maintaining a moderate distance from them, I spent peaceful days with David. Years passed, and now I am 67. David, after retiring, volunteers to help young professionals in the consulting industry. As for Mike's family, now it's just Sarah and Emma, who is in her first year of high school. Mike has been living away for work for the past 6 months. "Since Sarah isn't working, why don't you all move together?" I asked him, and he smiled. "I'll be back in 2 years, so there's no need to move everyone. Emma's a high schooler now, and Sarah said she could handle things at home." "Is that so?" "Well, as long as it's okay." Though I had my reservations, I trusted him and didn't press further. One night, we were woken up by the intercom. "What time is it?" "It's 1 a.m. "Who could it be at this hour?" "I'll get it." We both checked the front door monitor and saw Emma on the screen. We hurried to the door in our pajamas. "Emma, what are you doing here at this time?" She looked exhausted and was on the verge of tears. "Come in." We supported and brought her inside. She collapsed onto the living room sofa. Here, have some hot tea. Are you hungry? She buried her face in the sofa and shook her head. David looked at her with concern. I didn't know where to start. As I searched for the right words, she knelt on the floor and bowed her head. Can I borrow $30? I promise I'll pay it back. Her shoulders were trembling. I rubbed her arms and helped her sit back on the sofa. Emma, what happened? Can you tell us? Then she began to speak hesitantly. Mom's boyfriend came over and I was kicked out. Your mom's boyfriend? Is she having an affair? We exchanged troubled looks at her words. Yeah. Ever since Dad left for his assignment, Mom started going out more at night. She said she got a part-time job, but about a month ago, a man I didn't know suddenly came to the house. Emma's voice trembled. Has this happened before? Have you been kicked out like this before? She nodded silently, her head still down. I felt a surge of anger. According to her, the last time she was kicked out, a friend fortunately let her stay over. But given the circumstances, she felt she couldn't keep imposing on her friend, so she walked all the way to our house, trusting her instincts. You walked all the way here? David's voice cracked in surprise. It's an hour's drive from their house to ours. I couldn't believe she walked such a long distance. I had my phone and purse taken away so I couldn't contact Dad. She gave a weak smile, then knelt on the floor and bowed her head again. I don't want to go back to that house. I'm thinking of living in a hostel and finding a live-in job. So please, lend me some money to stay at the hostel until I find work. I promise I'll pay it back. There's no way I'm lending you money for that, you silly girl. David's voice echoed through the house. His tightly clenched fists were shaking with anger. In the 45 years we've been married, I had never seen him so furious. Emma looked devastated by his words. Then what am I supposed to do? She collapsed onto the floor, crying. Honey, calm down. I rubbed her back and spoke gently to David. He downed his tea in one gulp and took a deep breath. Emma, I'm sorry for raising my voice. You don't need to borrow money or leave the house to work. You have us. Stay here without worrying about money. Feeling relieved by his words, I spoke softly to Emma. That's right, Emma. Lean on us. She lifted her tear-streaked face. Thank you, so much. I hugged her. It's okay, no need to cry anymore. Go take a bath. For tonight, you can wear my pajamas. Thank you. David watched her with a gentle gaze. After her bath, she eagerly ate the sandwich I quickly made. We didn't want to make her more anxious, so we didn't ask any more questions. Recently, I started yoga. I've been trying to get Grandpa to join, but he's not interested at all. I just don't get yoga. Sphinx, tree pose. I have no idea what they are. Emma, you don't understand them either, right? I don't get them, but I might be interested. Really? Let's do it together next time. My friends will be thrilled if I bring my granddaughter along. She finally showed a look of relief. Seeing her like that eased our worries too. I'm going to clean up and go to bed. You go ahead and sleep, Emma. Okay, good night. She must have been exhausted, as we soon heard her soft breathing from the bedroom. We quietly closed the bedroom door. The clock showed it was 3 a.m. Even though it's late, we can't just ignore this. You're right. We decided to call Mike. It took a while for him to answer, but we kept calling. Hello, sorry, I was asleep. What's going on? Finally, Mike answered. Sorry to wake you, but we thought it was important to tell you right away. I started explaining everything that had happened in the past 2 hours. As I recounted the events, I sometimes got choked up, remembering Emma's tear-streaked face. During those moments, David took over and continued explaining. Mike listened silently, only making occasional acknowledgements. I know it's a lot to process in the middle of the night. I'm sorry. I expressed my concern for his silence, and he responded with a heavy sigh over the phone. Thinking about his unfortunate situation, I felt tears welling up. But those tears were halted by his next words. I already knew Sarah was having an affair. What? He explained that when he came home once a month during his assignment, Sarah's behavior had made him suspicious. For instance, she was often irritable when he was home and spent late nights texting someone on her phone. He had considered asking Emma about her behavior but felt it was inappropriate to burden a teenage daughter with suspicions about her mother. But I had no idea Emma was being put through this, damn it. Mike, usually so calm, was now audibly angry. About a month ago, I hired a private investigator to look into Sarah's activities. As I suspected, she was cheating on me. The investigation revealed that she met a man at a station about 40 minutes from home on weeknights and weekends, openly going on dates. Confident that no one would find out, she was even caught on camera entering a hotel with him. I'm currently discussing this evidence with a lawyer. Given Emma's situation, I'll come over first thing in the morning. Please take care of her until then. With that, he hung up. I slumped to the floor, feeling overwhelmed. David supported me. This was the first time I had ever felt such intense anger. I never had a good impression of Sarah since our first meeting. But we turned a blind eye because we thought Mike was happy. To betray him like this. Honey, we should try to get some sleep. We'll figure things out when Mike gets here tomorrow. You're right. We headed to our bedroom. Emma was sound asleep, her breathing soft and steady. Looking at her innocent sleeping face, I felt tears welling up again. Poor thing. David shook his head beside me. No, we won't let anyone think she's pitiful. We'll protect her and make sure she's happy. His words resonated deeply. He's always gently guided us through difficult times. With him by my side, I felt confident we could overcome this too. We fell asleep with that thought. Around 8 a.m. the next morning, Mike arrived at our house. Dad, what about work? Emma was surprised to see him. I took the day off. You're more important than work. Emma, I'm sorry. She fought back tears and shook her head. Emma, can you wait here for a bit? I need to talk to your mom. He spoke with a tense expression. Then, David stood up. We're coming with you. This isn't just a marital issue anymore. Hearing his words seemed to ease some of Mike's tension. Mike gave a small nod to him. Emma, will you be okay, alone? Normally, we wouldn't ask our high school granddaughter such a question. But right now, we were very worried about leaving her alone. Sensing my concern, she smiled. I'll be fine, Grandma. Please take care of Dad. Seeing her face, I couldn't help but smile too. The four of us share a wonderful bond of mutual care and support. With this strong connection, I felt that we could overcome any challenge that lies ahead. I couldn't help but feel this way, even if it was just a vague thought. We got into the car, and David drove us to their house. Mike sighed repeatedly during the drive. We're always on your side, Mike, and Emma's too. Thank you. Few words were exchanged between father and son. But they were filled with deep love and trust. Though the drive took an hour, we soon arrived at their house, lost in our thoughts. Mike unlocked the door and entered. We saw a pair of large sneakers in the entrance. Seeing those sneakers, his shoulders trembled. Just then, Sarah came rushing out of a room, looking flustered. Mike, what about work? And why are you here? Without answering, Mike removed his shoes and walked into the house. Hey, wait. She tried to stop him, but he didn't look back. He opened the door to the living room and froze. What are you doing in my house? His voice echoed through the quiet house. There was no answer. We hurried to look into the living room and saw a tall man with dyed hair standing there. Wait, Mike, you're misunderstanding. He was just helping change a light bulb that went out. Yes, that's right. She asked me because her husband is away on assignment. Where's Emma? The man flinched at the mention of Emma. She is staying at a friend's house since last night. Sarah replied calmly from behind. She probably had no idea Emma had walked to our house. Jake. You kicked our daughter out to continue your affair in my house. He glared at the man and raised his voice. Having investigated the affair, he already knew the man's name and background. Both Jake and Sarah trembled at his words. "Sit down, both of you." Overwhelmed by his intensity, they said nothing and sat as told. We sat facing them. "I have enough evidence of your affair with this man." He slammed the investigator's report on the table. They widened their eyes and exchanged glances. "You two kicked Emma out of the house last night, taking her phone and purse so she couldn't contact me." Mike's voice trembled. "She walked all the way to our house." David, though not shouting, glared at them. After a moment of silence, Sarah smirked. "Yes, I cheated. You're living it up on your own, so I should be allowed a little fun too, right?" Her words broke my last thread of patience. "Mike is working for the family's sake. I've been managing the house all these years while he's been working." Annoyed by my reprimand, Sarah started talking rapidly. Jake was her boyfriend before she met Mike. They wanted to get married, but both were jobless, and their parents disapproved. Then she met Mike, who had a high income. Her parents approved of the marriage, and she thought she could live a carefree life. She decided to be a proper mother until their child finished compulsory education, taking care of the house for the past 15 years. Now that she finally had some freedom, she started meeting Jake again. I was beyond anger, feeling only disbelief at her shamelessness. Looking beside me, I saw Mike clenching his fists tightly. Raising his head, he said, "Do whatever you want. But we will get a divorce. I'll take custody of Emma, and you two will pay the appropriate alimony. We'll discuss this further with lawyers present." With that, he stood up. We hurriedly followed him. Once in the car, Mike let out a long breath. "Well done." He gave a faint smile. "Thanks for coming with me." When we got home and opened the door, the house was filled with a delicious aroma. On the dining table were some homemade bread rolls. They were a bit misshapen but looked delicious. "Did you make these, Emma?" She nodded shyly. "Yeah, but real bread takes a long time, so I made these fake bread with pancake mix." Mike reached out and took a bite. "These are delicious." Seeing his smile, she beamed with joy. "Let me try some too." "I'll have some as well." The bread was subtly sweet, filled with Emma's love. With the four of us together, I felt we could handle anything. Surrounded by a peaceful atmosphere, I was sure of it. The following weekend, Mike and Sarah met with their lawyers for the divorce settlement. While she agreed to the divorce, she insisted on retaining custody of Emma. Despite having cheated and kicked her out, she still wanted custody. It turned out she wanted child support, which was why she was fighting for custody. It was clear to the lawyers that Sarah had no real love for her family and only cared about the money she could get from Mike. When the lawyer called Emma to ask her preference, she unequivocally chose her father, stating that she would rather go into foster care than stay with her mother. Sarah was shocked to hear such words from Emma. I was appalled by how selfish she could be. Thanks to the lawyer's precise handling, Mike gained custody of Emma, and the divorce was finalized. Sarah agreed to pay $200 in monthly child support, $20,000 in alimony, and her affair partner had to pay $10,000 in damages. Mike decided to sell the house, with him and Emma moving in with us, and Sarah moving into her lover's apartment. "Fine. I'm going to live with Jake from now on. We can finally be together." Hearing such words from people in their 40s was honestly revolting. We were all fed up and just wanted them to do as they pleased. "Since I'm paying child support, at least let me see Emma." She initially demanded to see Emma, but since Emma refused to meet her, we didn't allow it. She then got angry and said, "If I can't see her, I won't pay child support anymore," and stopped paying. Mike hadn't wanted the money, he wanted Sarah to show some motherly love by paying the support, but that hope was shattered. She showed no remorse for hurting her family through her infidelity, she was truly incorrigible. With no more child support and no further contact, we lost track of Sarah. Rumor had it that they took out loans to pay the alimony and were now working diligently to pay off their debts. I genuinely hoped she would learn about the harsh realities of life. 6 months later, Mike's company took his circumstances into account, allowing him to return to his original department. During these 6 months, David and I took care of Emma. We tried our best to ensure she didn't feel lonely, but I always worried if we truly provided a place where she could feel at ease. So, we were deeply relieved when he returned. Grandma, let's bake bread. On the day Mike was coming home, Emma woke up early and suggested. Sure. What kind of bread? Cinnamon rolls. I didn't know you liked cinnamon rolls. Emma laughed and shook her head. No, Dad loves cinnamon rolls. Indeed, he had loved cinnamon rolls since he was little. He always said my homemade cinnamon filling was perfect. Dad used to go around trying cinnamon rolls from various bakeries, but he always said, it's not quite right. Cinnamon rolls connoisseur, huh? We laughed out loud. Since we're at it, I'll teach you how to make my cinnamon filling. Really? Of course. It was my dream to pass down my recipes to my family. I thought I couldn't because we only had a son. I had always dreamed of making bread with Mike's future wife. That dream didn't come true, but now I get to make bread with my granddaughter. It felt deeply moving. I'm really happy living with you and Grandpa, Emma said while preparing the hot pot. Dad hates bell peppers, so please take care of him. He still hates them? How childish. We looked at each other and laughed.